Now to the Fox News voter fraud unit and claims voter ID would stop felons from illegally voting. You know, we've investigated claims that illegal votes may have tipped the 2008 Minnesota Senate race to Al Franken. Senator Franken defeated incumbent Republican Senator Norm Coleman by a mere 312 votes. But the conservative group Minnesota Majority has claimed more than 1,000 felons voted illegally in that race, and they may have made the difference, while prosecutors have so far convicted 175 felons, with more cases coming. But they claim not enough felons voted to sway the result, and that voter ID would not have stopped the illegal voting.
It really is a solution chasing a problem, and it's going to disenfranchise a lot of people. And as a federal judge said in Ohio, there's only one reason for voter ID, that is to disenfranchise people. And that's what it does.
Well, the next state facing this is Virginia, where a voter ID bill is about to be signed in the next few weeks. Dozens of people there, including felons, have been charged with fraud from the 2008 election. Joining us now to talk more about that from Richmond is Republican State Senator Tom Garrett, who's spoken out about voter fraud. Senator, welcome. How bad is voter fraud in Virginia?
Well, Eric, the simple answer is we simply don't know. What we have had are literally hundreds of cases investigated and confirmed by Virginia State Police and in some instances local police. But we don't know what the scale is. We do know that in 2008 alone, there have been literally hundreds of cases confirmed in that one election. And you pointed to the Franken race in Minnesota. Likewise, the 2005 Virginia Attorney General's race was decided by about 300 votes. So that's a statistically significant number, and it's something that we should all be concerned about.
Well, when you talk about potentially hundreds of cases and you have these close races, Minnesota 312, Virginia 2005, 300, what does that mean for our election process?
Well, obviously, any vote that's illegally cast, you can look at it two ways. Either waters down every legally cast ballot, or every illegally cast ballot cancels out a legally cast ballot. And so this isn't about disenfranchisement. This is about protecting the sanctity of our franchise, ensuring that one person, one vote is the law of the land.
38 people or so, several dozen have so far been charged, including felons, with voter registration, illegally registering to vote, including some, they say, there are claims that some third-party groups may have been involved. What's the latest and what's going on in terms of those cases?
Well, prior to my election to the state senate, I was the Commonwealth's attorney or the district attorney in Louisa County. Our sheriff's office actually investigated two instances of this, and we had convictions on those investigations. And one of those instances, a group called Women's Voices, Women's Votes, which is part of the Tides Center, had solicited the registration, and when the person who illegally registered queried as to whether or not this was a problem, they said, don't worry about it, nobody will check, and even if they do, they won't do anything about it. So, there are loopholes in the system that some groups, it would appear, are actively seeking to exploit. All we want to do is close the barn door before the horses get out.
So you're talking about these groups like, it comes to mind Acorn, for example. You think they actually purposely solicited illegal votes to get them on the ballot?
Well, I don't have any sort of hard evidence that the group institutionally did so, but we do have very good anecdotal evidence that individuals within the group did. And when we initially conducted our investigation when I was prosecutor, that's what we wanted to do, was sort of walk this dog backwards to the individuals who were seeking to register people that they knew would not be allowed to vote under the law. The other instances of voter fraud we've seen in Virginia are oftentimes university students who might be registered in, say, for example, Pennsylvania, but attend college at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville and vote in both places. So those are the two primary illegal voting activities that we've been able to verify.
Yeah, we got a lot of email about that at our site where the parents write us that their kids voted at home and then they had an absentee ballot where they lived. You can't do that, can you?
No, I would think, again, one vote should be for each voter, and that, again, protects the sanctity of our franchise. That's all we're trying to do here. Look, the Help America Vote Act is the act that the Virginia voter ID law was modeled after. It passed the United States Senate in 2002, 92-2. And so when we got the Virginia voter ID bill, which is actually more broadly constructed, doesn't require a photo ID or anything like the Texas or South Carolina laws do, we thought this would be a bipartisan common sense issue. It passed 20-20 tie with the lieutenant governor breaking the tie. The only conclusion I can reach is that there are some entities that are interested in allowing the loopholes to continue and not ensuring the sanctity of one person, one vote. And that's very disconcerting in the United States of America.
Well, it is a hot and contentious issue. Senator Tom Garrett, we thank you for joining us this morning to talk about what's going on in Virginia. Thank you.
Eric, thank you, and thank you for bringing attention to this important issue.
Well, absolutely. And as you know, and as folks around know, voterfraud@foxnews.com is our address. If anyone who's watching suspects voter or election fraud or any hanky-panky at the polls, it's something that we are really onto. Senator, thanks again. Arthel?
And Eric,
Thank you.
you've been doing some fine reporting on that subject.